Why is it that some agencies grow super quick and make it look so effortless while many others struggle? In this video, I'm going to break down 9 things that I've seen the most successful agencies do to grow quickly, be profitable while working less hours. Now, all of this comes from having consulted over 600 different types of agencies, consultants, consulting firms, and freelancers. Now, the first secret, if you will, the thing that almost all of the most successful consulting firms, agencies, really online businesses do is identify a target audience. What this means is you need to actually know exactly who your services are meant for and then actually target that specific person through talking to their pains, their problems, their frustrations, their wants, their aspirations. Now, by narrowing your focus, you can actually create a stronger and more relevant value proposition because you're speaking to one person that has a specific problem and you can show up as the solution and or the provider of the solution to that specific person, aka your ideal client profile. If you're trying to target too many different types of people, it becomes really difficult to show up as an expert and an authority to any one person. When you specialize, you actually can build authority way faster in your market of choice, your market of expertise, and start to create demand for your services. For example, one of our clients, Joy and Juan, they are brand strategists and designers. And when they came to us, they worked with a couple different markets, but they realized the market that they loved, the people that they enjoyed serving and were able to get the most results for were actually permanent makeup artists. Now, at that point, I've never even heard of permanent makeup artists. I didn't know that was even a thing, but there is an entire industry ecosystem that they've been able to penetrate and become an authority in that space. She's speaking on stages now in rooms full of hundreds of her ideal client profile. When she zoomed in on who that person was, she was able to cater her service to that specific person. So step number 1, identify a target audience. Number 2 is to actually focus on selling outcomes. The time and the day in which you would sell your hours or blocks of hours is over. And if you're still doing that, it's going to come to an end because especially in the agency world with AI and the ability to harness technology to serve clients in less time, if all you're doing is billing your time and you now work way less to get your client the result, you're going to make a lot less. But that doesn't mean what you're doing for your client isn't valuable, right? So we need to reposition your services, your skill set, your expertise to actually sell an outcome. So rather than offering a wide range of services and having a menu where clients can pick from it, focus on delivering a specific solution to a specific problem that yields a specific outcome. You got to understand their sales process, their budget, and their key performance indicators, their KPIs, so that you can tailor your services accordingly. If you don't know how your clients measure the success of the work that you guys do together, it's going to be really difficult to position yourself as valuable to the next client. After we identify a target audience, we have to focus on selling an outcome. Now, number 3, that outcome should solve a very specific problem. So we got to tailor your services to address that particular problem faced by your target audience. And we need to understand their pain points and offer solutions that directly address those issues. For example, we have a client that does lead generation. Before they niche down, one of their avatars were lawyers and then the other avatar were med spas. They both wanted new clients. They both wanted leads, but the way in which they solved the problem for lawyers was different from the way in which they solved the problem for med spas. Similar tactics, lead generation, but the platform of choice that they needed to focus on, the messaging, the rules and regulations around how to market and generate leads for each of those different types of customers was different. And so if you're always kind of changing your solution to what that one avatar needs, you're going to create a lot of operational drag. And this is actually what slows down most agencies from growing. So as you start to solve a specific problem, the actual skills, the experience, the platforms, the tools that you use to solve that problem over and over and over again are going to continue to narrow and narrow and narrow. So much so that you might even have some skills, some services that have been in your agency that you no longer need to offer because it doesn't actually help solve that specific problem. Which brings me to number 4. Once you've solved the problem enough times and you know that your ideal client values that, this is where you can actually productize your service, which simply means how do you streamline the service delivery component by creating a well-defined, repeatable process for you and your team to get your client to that desired outcome. Productizing allows you to scale more efficiently and deliver consistent client results in the least amount of time possible with the least amount of operational drag. Like I mentioned, if you're offering and serving different clients and each client needs something different, the operational complexity of solving their problems becomes increased. This is why I see so many agency owners that are doing less than 40 or 50K a month, and they have like 8 or 9 team members, some of which are part-time and fractional, and they spend more time wrangling a bunch of different people to master each of these different services that they're pretty much mediocre at because each client just needed something different. If we've identified our target audience, we've specialized into solving a specific problem, positioned as an outcome, and productize our service, the number of people that you're going to need to deliver on that service over and over and over again is going to decrease. So much so that you might be able to deliver a high value solution to your client where you're getting paid $5, $10, $15, $20,000 and really only need 1 to 3 people on your team to actually deliver it, which gives you high margin, allows to invest in growth and keep growing your business without sacrificing client results because you're now the expert in solving that problem and you've done it over and over and over again. Once we've productized, that brings us to the 5th thing that the most successful agencies are doing, and that is actually eliminating the unnecessary components of their business. So once you've realized, hey, this is the offer that our clients get the most value from, this is where you actually need to start shedding some of the fat. So look at the other service offerings, the things that you might have in your business, and see where you can trim down, possibly even eliminate legacy service offerings that don't directly contribute to the desired outcome of that new ideal client profile. We need to focus on the core elements that make the most impact for your clients. So for example, if you work with lawyers and the way in which you generate leads for lawyers comes from content, pay per click, and things like that, and you used to be really good at Facebook ads, but Facebook ads doesn't really work for lawyers, you probably don't need to continue going down the path of leveraging Facebook ads. And that was just an example. I'm not an expert in lawyers, but I'm pointing out that if you realize that some of your skill sets don't provide the actual outcome to your ideal client, you don't need to invest in people or trying to get better in areas that don't actually help solve your ideal client's problem. It's a waste of time and it's slowing you down from moving forward and creating more depth inside the market that you're actually an expert in. This brings us to number 6, which is really to demonstrate your expertise and your authority in that space, aka start building your brand. Now, I'm using brand loosely in that if you think about any expert that you've ever paid, in most cases, you went to them. You were referred to them from someone that you trust. Their expertise was demonstrated through maybe online content. You watched their YouTube channel, you read their publication, you read their book. That expert created demand. They brought you to them. Think about any expert that you've invested in, that was likely the case. Now, if you're the expert in your niche, do you think it makes sense that you should be chasing prospects? Does that make you look like the expert? It doesn't. So you have to be out there demonstrating your authority and expertise. This becomes a whole lot easier when you've done the things that we've already talked about, which is identifying your ideal client, the problems that they have specifically, and how you can actually solve their problems. This allows you to speak directly to one person about the problems that you can help them with. We can go real deep into the fears and the frustrations, the wants and aspirations of that person. We can tell stories and give examples of clients that we've worked with or exact scenarios that they would resonate with that's going to have them sit there watching your content and saying things like, man, they're in my head. They know exactly what I'm going through. And that's what you want to be able to do inside of your content. So we want to be able to position yourself as the expert in your specialized area, which means creating content and actually engaging with the people that are your target audience, that are engaging with your content, to start building a brand presence, showing up in places where they hang out so that your name becomes known, which is really the real definition of advertising, to become known, and them start coming to you. Now, once you've started demonstrating your expertise, we need to go on to the 7th thing, which is really starting to try to stand out from the competition. Now, this is something that is probably easier said than done, but what I've found is to be you. I know that sounds like super woo-woo and cliche, but the people who try to intentionally be different kind of end up seeming like they're not themselves. And the unique thing about you is you. No one can take away your experience inside of this market. So how do you stand out? Well, when you've been specializing on solving a specific problem for a specific person, you're gonna, one, be unique to that market and stand out compared to all of the other generalist firms. The number of traditional agencies that are trying to be everything to everybody or be a full service solution to your ideal client profile, when they're looking for that specific problem or a solution to that specific problem, and they see the agency that can do all of the things, or you who specialize in solving this problem, they will be more than likely to pay you a premium to solve that problem. Just think of the classic example of a doctor. If you have a brain tumor, you're probably not going to go to the family medicine doctor or the general doctor. You're going to go to a brain surgeon, and the brain surgeon is going to cost a whole lot more because they've gone through a ton more reps and experience solving that specific problem. And that's how you want to show up in your market, as the specialist, solving a high value problem that they're willing to pay a premium for. And so as you're creating that content, we need to make sure that you're showcasing your unique ability, your expertise, your success stories. And you really want to make sure that you're starting to stand out from your competitors. You're saying different things, doing different things. Maybe you're calling out things that they're not calling out. That's really what we need to start doing as we've been producing a lot more content to demonstrate our expertise. How do we showcase our own unique ability and our own unique methodology to showcase that we are, in fact, a better solution? Now, if you're doing all these things, this actually brings us to number 8, which is focusing on acquisition. The most successful agencies, the ones that have predictable revenue, are the ones that are getting leads every single month. Now, that doesn't mean they need to bring on clients every single month, but when you're generating leads that are seeing you out in the marketplace, viewing you as an authority, you're actually going to generate demand. So much so that you might even have a wait list, to the point where you could send out an email like some of our clients where it says, hey, I now have 3 spots open this month. If you meet this criteria, we should chat. And then their calendar gets full and they bring on 3 clients. The longer that you're in the content game, which I will tell you does take time to demonstrate your authority. If it were easy, you'd all be experts. If you're doing that well enough, you then need to be able to turn that into leads, turn that into clients. And we want to focus on building one repeatable client acquisition pathway versus trying to be everywhere. The technology today makes it so easy to repurpose content and appear omnipresent and be on all of the platforms. And that's fine. If you want to repurpose content and look like you're everywhere, great. But you still need to focus on getting one acquisition pathway to work for you repeatedly. You don't want to be trying to harvest leads and clients from 10 different sources. It only works sometimes on some platforms. You want to master and make sure that you can rely on getting clients from one specific path. We call this the happy path. So for some clients, that might be you create content, that content brings them into a private community like a Facebook group. And from the private Facebook group, you make invitations and create conversations to then book calls. You might also have a lead magnet that you run paid ads to, and they opt in to a PDF guide or a book. And after they get that, they're invited to book a call. And you know that a certain percentage of people end up booking that call. Once you can dial that in, and you know that if you're spending X dollars a month on that funnel or those ads, or you're putting out a certain amount of content each month, that you will generate a certain amount of leads. From those leads, a percentage within, a small window of each other will book a call, and then a percentage of that will become clients. If you can dial that one happy path and make it repeatable, you're going to feel really confident in then finally going to another channel at one point. But here's the secret. You get one pathway from lead to sale dialed in, that will get you to a 7-figure business. Don't try to be everywhere for everyone. Dial in one first and then expand. Now, number 9 is to continually optimize the previous 8 things that we've just discussed, because as you serve more clients, guess what happens? You get clear on who the best clients are, and you get better at selecting those clients. You get better at speaking to the problems of your ideal client. You get better at converting more people from your acquisition funnel. So you need to continually optimize. The number of agencies I see that they build some of this stuff out, they get clear on it, and then they think all of the work is done. They fall back into the trap of taking random clients because they stopped focusing on their acquisition efforts, which means they started chasing clients instead of having clients come to them. And so there's a continual optimization process that needs to be happening. You have to regularly assess your services. You need to look at how effective they are, gather feedback from each and every every client, capture testimonials. What are things that didn't work for some clients that you now need to improve on? How do you keep improving on the service? How do you do it faster, more affordably? How do you increase the likelihood of the result for your client? You need to use the information that you are seeing from all aspects of your business to keep making minor improvements over time. And when you actually zoom out, what will happen is you'll look at how your service started and say, wow, I remember when I first specialized on this person and we were doing XYZ. It's been 5 years and our business looks night and day different. Now, in the month-to-month improvements, it probably didn't feel all that drastic of an evolution. But when you zoom out, your capabilities, your expertise, the amount of authority that you have in the marketplace from when you actually started will be a night and day difference. So if you're in this for the long game and you follow these 9 steps, you will be one of the few agencies that actually other people look at and want to emulate because you've grown quickly, you are profitable, and you're doing so in a fast, efficient manner where you have high margins and you actually have a life that's fulfilling and you enjoy what you're doing versus dreading coming to work every day. So a quick recap of the 9 things the most successful and profitable agencies do that came from me having worked with over 600 of them are as follows. Number 1, identify your target audience. 2, focus on the outcomes. 3, solve a specific problem. 4, productize the service. 5, eliminate the unnecessary components of your agency. 6, build expertise and authority in your marketplace. 7, stand out. 8, focus on acquisition. And 9, continually optimize. If you'd like help with some of these things and you're already doing, $15K a month in revenue and up to 40 or 50K a month in revenue, and you want to focus on some of these things, we'd love to chat with you to see if we can help. There's a link to book a call inside the description. In the meantime, check out this video on how to pick your ideal client.